because I'm going to get 15 questions. I'm going to say everything again. Okay, the Unit 1 test and the Unit 2 test are up. That means that if I've set the dates for the Unit 1 and the Unit 2 test, what else have I set the dates for? The homework. You'll have to look and see. I'll show it to you in a minute. The next test, ignore that Unit 2 test, that's an old test, is Unit 2, 5, Unit, there's supposed to be a Unit 2, 4 somewhere. I'll have to remake it. Okay, I may have put, no. Oh, okay, that's why that one's, okay, I'll change this one and delete chapter 3, or I'll give you an extra points. Okay, there's the Unit 4, there's chapter 4, 4.1 and 4.2, and this is 5.1, 5.2. So I'm going to change the name of that test and delete some things because I don't want to test you on 3. I'm just going, all it is calculator stuff, how to graph things on a calculator, how to find things on a calculator. Same thing here. So these two are going to be like quizzes, all right? And I'll probably give you a week to take both of them. Then we're going to get into the last section, or the last 2 sections, which is Unit 3 and Unit 4. And we'll spend a good bit of time on those 2 sections, especially Unit 3. Well, Unit 3 is solving systems of equations. I think one of them is solving systems of equations. I think the other one is logarithms. So I think this is logarithms, which we're going to spend some time on. And I'll spend more time on logarithms than I do on solving systems of equations. Why? Because you don't use solving systems of equations in calculus that much. And yes, I do focus on calculus because a good portion of Math 110 students go to Math 111 and then go to calculus. That's why I spend a lot of time teaching for calculus. So we're going to spend a lot more time on the Unit 3 test, the material, logarithms, than we are on the Unit 4. Probably spend a week, last 2 weeks of class on this. Why? Because 1, you don't see it a lot in calculus. You see it in linear programming, and you see a lot in linear algebra for those of you that's going to be heading toward the computer technology, the computer science. The other reason is most of you have had this material. Solving systems of equations by graphing, substitution, or elimination. So most of you have had this. Most of you have had logarithms, but you suck more at logarithms than you do at solving systems of equations. Generally speaking, students in the past. Logarithms, I show you logarithm, people, get sick. All right, I show you systems of equations, and you go, okay, I know how to do that. So that's why I'm going to spend a lot more time on logarithms than I am solving systems of equations. So let's go over it, recap, and this is for the online class. Right now, after today, you are responsible for those 2 tests. Unit 1, Unit 2, CTS. In about a week, I'm going to give you these 2 smaller tests, which are just about all of it's on the graphing calculator. And then we're going to spend probably 3 to 4 weeks on this one. And then the last 2 weeks of school probably, or the last week, we're going to spend on solving systems of equations, which should be a review for you all. All right. Now with that being said, I'm going to get to the questions. And this is 3.2, number 7. 3.2.
Mr. McClure?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm turning it on. Thank you. Yeah, Pendleton, I got it. Yeah, Pendleton, thank you. You sit there. All right, what do you do? I don't care what they're asking for. What are we going to do? We're going to do completing the what?
Square.
The square. And this is an 8 or a 9. We're already there. We haven't done a 10 yet. I'll throw a 10 up today if we don't get to it. Or I think we did. Did we do a 10 with all fractions?
We did a 9.
Okay. Well, this is pretty much close enough. Or that's close enough. I'll have to see what that one was. All right, so I'm going to start off with negative 3x squared plus 36x plus blank is equal to 103 plus blank. Tell me what yesterday's was, number 9. Tell me the problem.
It was negative 1/3 x squared minus 2/3 plus 1.
Okay, that was a number 10. That was 9 or 10. So you're not going to get much more difficult than that. So we are through. See, I'm getting y'all mixed up with the 109 class. The 109 is behind y'all about a day or two. And we're doing completing the square in there, and that's why I'm getting y'all mixed up with the 109 class. All right, so what do we got to factor out?
Negative 3.
Good job. I'm going to factor out a negative 3, and that means negative 3 with that line over there. And I'm going to add your animation with the blue color so y'all will learn more. That's going to be x squared minus, because that plus divided by negative is a negative. What's 36 divided by 3? 12. I suck. This was supposed to be black. There. X squared minus 12x plus blank is equal to 103 plus negative 3 times blank. I watched a depressing movie last night. That's why I like horror movies. You know how they're what? You know how they're going to end. You know people are going to get killed. You know it's bad. I hate watching depressing movies. I watched Judy. You ever watched it? Judy Garland? Y'all seen previews of it? Y'all know who Judy Garland is? Really? Frickin' Dorothy? Dorothy.
From The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, that's Judy Garland. It's your parents' fault. It's your parents' fault. I don't require that you know all movies and all actors, but come on, The Wizard of Oz. Anyway, it was depressing. It was really depressing. I wasted 2 hours watching that movie. Don't watch it. It's what happens when you go to Hollywood and can't handle it. They throw stuff at you on stage when you're old, and they throw stuff at you and fall down and make a fool out of yourself. It's pretty depressing. So don't go to Hollywood. Okay, that's a synopsis of Judy Garland. Can't believe some of y'all hadn't heard of Judy Garland. I mean, I'm not in a wheelchair or anything, but good gracious. That's like saying you don't know who Sylvester Stallone is. I mean, some of y'all better not say you don't know who Sylvester Stallone is. Dang old Rocky and Rambo. Good gosh. Huh? I don't know what he said.
But I know who that one.
Okay, you know who that one is. Oh, good morning. Glad you could join us. All right, so what is 12 divided by 2? And 6 squared? And that 36 goes here and there. All right, finish it. Oh, well, I did it just for you. No yawning in class. We just got through talking about the movie Judy, about Judy Garland, and you don't know who Judy Garland is. Okay, I'm going to give y'all a special assignment for a grade. No, that's sad.
Okay, go ahead.
No, forget it. Y'all probably won't do it, but
No, we need a grade in the grade book.
no, you don't. This is an easy class. Y'all should all make A's. Judy Garland was one of the best singers in Hollywood. Of Oz.
Oh, I know.
I know who that is.
That's funny.
She kind of looked like
Her daughter was Liza Minnelli, who was probably better than she was. She was on Broadway for years. She did Camelot.
Oh.
Anyway.
I like Merlin. I like
Like who?
Merlin
What'd she
and
say?
Camelot.
Merlin.
You said she did Camelot.
Oh, yeah. Or the Cabaret. One of the two is a big movie. She was a big Broadway person.
That's a like brand at the bottom. That is.
All right. You're supposed to be doing completing a square, not singing a chorus. So, -3, and you're going to get the sound effects corner over here going. Don't do that. All right, -3, x minus 6, quantity squared, is equal to 103 minus what?
108.
108. And that's going to give us -3 times x minus 6, quantity squared, is equal to negative what?
5.
And our vertex is 6, 5. And that is your highest or your lowest point. I think this probably asked for that. This problem asked for that. I don't know. The vertex, yep. But we're going to keep going because we like to learn a lot more than what we're supposed to because we're not lazy and we want to raise the bar. So, we're going to take and we're going to do -3 times x minus 6. Might be an employee for Chick-fil-A if we keep doing that. Squared is equal to -5. You know why people hate Chick-fil-A so much? Because the employees, to work there, you have to raise the what? You have to raise the bar. You have to wear a uniform. You have to be nice to people. You have to be polite. You have to be professional. And people don't like that. People want everybody to be rude to each other. And and that's why they hate Chick-fil-A. Yes. Do you hate it?
Yeah.
Why do you hate it?
Well, they're not management's awful.
Oh, well. Well, I know one thing. I don't care too much for it because when I go there and eat, I want to go out and eat a pizza or something afterwards because it doesn't fill me up.
A lot of people
Okay.
like that.
Now, I go there and I like the, what do you call them? The baked chicken nuggets or the grilled chicken nuggets. I like that and I get 3 of those. I have to eat 3 of them.
Hater.
Okay? Why? Because they don't fill you up. Okay? So, but I don't go there very much. But the reason people hate it is the reason people criticize it is because unlike other employers, they expect their employees to do what? Raise the bar. They do. They ask for you to be professional. They ask for you to be polite. They ask for you to wear a uniform. They ask for you to clean and be clean. Heaven forbid. It's called raising the bar. That's what it's called. And people don't like that. That's why they criticize it. What?
It's like very simple.
What?
Everything you just said is very simple.
Yeah, everything I just said is very what? Simple. But why don't people do it? But you said it. I did. All right.
Not that hard.
So I'm through my soapbox. -3, x minus 6, quantity squared, is equal to 5/3. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And I'm going to get x minus 6 is equal to the square root of 5 over the square root of 3. Now I'm going to rationalize the denominator. And they asked you to do this in 3.1, so you should have learned it. And I went over a couple of questions about it. So I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. And that gives us x minus 6 is equal to the square root of 15 over 3. Now somebody tell me what they think the square root of 15 is.
3.9.
It's a miracle. So x minus 6 is equal to positive or negative 3.9 over 3. Now, you can do this two ways. You can go ahead and divide 3 into 3.9 and get positive negative 1.3, or you can change 6 into what? 18/3. I'm going to go ahead and change 3.9 into 1.3. Okay? So that's going to give us x is equal to positive or negative 1.3 plus what? 6. And what's 1.3 plus 6? 7.3. And what's negative? You owe somebody $1.30. You give them $6. You have $6 in your pocket. You give them $1.30. What's left? $4.70. So that's going to be 4.7. Now let's draw it. So what's our y-intercept? Negative 103. It's going to be way down here. Okay, there's negative 103. What is our vertex?
6, 5.
6 comma what? 5. So 6 comma 5 positive. And our y-intercept is 7.3. That's 5. And 4.7. Okay, of course, my y-intercept is way off because it's very skinny. Why is it very skinny? Because of the 3. And why is it opening downward? Because of the negative. Okay, so now all real numbers. And we are negative infinity to 5. That's our range. And then increasing from negative infinity to 6, and decreasing from 6 to what?
Infinity.
And you feel good about yourself. Line of symmetry. X is equal to 6. And that's pretty much that one. Now, again, you would only have to do half of that because the vertex comes up about halfway through. And you feel good, and we'll type it in because, and I'll type it in wrong probably because 6 comma 5. We got it right. We feel good about ourselves. And which one is it? It's not Alpha, it's not Charlie. It's either Bravo or Delta. Delta. Now, that is a good test question. Why? Because you have to use completing the square, and you have to actually sketch it to see what it looks like. So that's a good test question, and you don't have 15 parts. So,
again, couldn't you like already?
what?
So once you find the vertex, right, you know that it's
Once you find the vertex and you know that, good. You just had a revelation. All you have to do is plot the vertex in your mind and then say, well, wait a minute, 3 is skinny and negative, so we know it's not Alpha or Charlie. See? You're learning. That's what the whole point is. Somebody's going, oh, what's you talking about?
This is great. I feel so I'm like, we doing all this work.
Hey, here's my question.
I know. 3.3, 18. Is it a test question?
Yep.
Yes, it is a test question, but it's only half. No, we're not going to use quadratic formula. We're going to use complete the square. All right, so let's go ahead and distribute.
Vertex.
So the quadratic formula is used when you have to use the quadratic formulas for this. 2.21 x squared plus 3.6x minus 7.2 is equal to 0. That's when you use the quadratic formula.
Is that an 11?
What?
Is that an 11?
On secure channel.
Is that on 11? What you say?
Like 11 on the TV.
No, that's not 11. Let's just do it on. Let's don't do it on the calculator. All right. So 4x times x plus 2 equals 2. First thing you're gonna do is what? And that's 4x squared plus what? 8x plus blank is equal to 2 plus blank. All right, go to it.
Plus blank.
That was my phone. I'm sorry, I left it
And a cloud.
on.
What's squared?
Somebody's wanting something. That was my text message. Somebody wants to Skype in at 11.
If I do this, what's this gonna
No, because then you have to rely on what? Your calculator, because people they don't do decimals in their head that well, especially when you take the square root of them.
Oh my Jesus.
Why am I getting all these friend requests from Puerto Rico and I don't know anybody in Puerto Rico.
Priority 1 message coming in on secured channel.
If I find me a good sugar mama, yeah, I'd like to find them, but I don't think that's gonna happen. That would be nice, but I don't think that's gonna happen. If I can't find one in America, I don't think I'm gonna find one in Puerto Rico.
I'm scared.
So, I'm going to factor out a what? I'm going to factor out a 4. That's going to give me x squared plus 2x plus blank is equal to 2 plus, and then multiply that 4, animation colors, times that blank. What's half of 2? Let me get your calculator out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared. Somebody do that for me on your calculator. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt somebody that can't spell mom backwards and make change at a cashier or a cash register. They probably put 1 square in the calculator. 4 times x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to, let's see, 2 plus 4. So our vertex is -1, comma, negative what? Now, I make fun of the math, but what am I trying to tell y'all?
It's easy.
Completing the square is not hard. Why do people have problems doing it? Because they don't know the method. And usually that's because the teacher don't know the method. And then, if the teacher does know the method, it shows it to them one time and then throws you on the calculator with quadratic formula and drills the quadratic formula in your head to where you can't do the simple math on completing the square. I don't know if that's happened to you, but that's usually what happens. So now, 4 times x plus 1, quantity squared, is equal to 6. divide by 4, divide by 4, x plus 1, quantity squared. I'm going to leave it as a 4. Why?
Isn't it big perfect square?
It's a perfect square, so I'm going to leave it as a 4. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 1 is equal to
It's not 2.4.
square root of 6 over 2. Now, let's go over here and interpolate a little bit. Square root of 4 is what? 2. Square root of 9 is what? 3. What's halfway between 2 and 3? 2.5, so halfway between here is 6.5. Now, if you don't know that, then I'm sorry. We need 6. I'm going to say it's 2.4.
Yeah, that's
So
what
x plus 1 is equal to positive or negative 2.4 over 2. Again, since I don't think about these problems and I just make them up, we have different problems. But all these problems are designed to where that will cancel on the right-hand side. It makes easy math. So what's 2.4 divided by 2? So x is equal to positive or negative 1.2 minus 1. And that's going to be 0.2 and negative what? Negative 2.2. And let's see, well, they want the radical, then it's going to be the square root of 6. It's going to be plus 2 over 2. Let me do this in another color. They want radicals, so I'm going to add 2 over 2, and that's going to equal square root of 6 plus 2 over 2, and that would be your answer, but you'd have to say positive or negative, and you could either put a positive or a negative right here, or you would have to say 2 plus square root of 6 over 2, comma, 2 minus square root of 6 over 2. That's how you would type in the answer, and I'm just going to type in 3 so you can see it. But I'm going to finish this problem. Let's see. 0.2 is right there. Negative 2.2 is right there. Our vertex is negative 1, negative 6 down here. And what is our negative 2 is our what? So it looks like we're going something like that. And of course, all real numbers, negative 6 to infinity is your range. Decreasing from negative infinity to negative 1, and increasing from negative 1 to infinity. Line of symmetry goes through negative 1. X is equal to negative 1. Now, all of your test questions are going to be done with completing the square. That's why the test is called what? CTS. So you may do half of completing the square, you may have to do all of completing the square. But we'll either go over it today or Friday, whatever. But y'all go ahead and start it.
Or you can just find the vertex.
And you can find the vertex and stop on the test. Yeah, please don't go all the way through it. Yeah, don't go all the way through it unless you need to. This is just for practice.
Okay.
Yeah, you stop whenever you know the answer. So 3. And they probably going to write it in that magenta over there. So we'll see. Notice they didn't write it as 1, which is really stupid. That's the way I would write it, and that's the way most teachers would write it. But they want you to write it as x, as 2 x's like I do right here. But they want it in radical form. So I said, and what they did is they factored out a negative, which you're going to get the same answer. Okay?
Is test gonna be that sensitive?
Wait a minute, that's supposed to be a minus. Sorry. Oh, me, that means I've done the whole thing wrong. Okay, no, I've just drawn it wrong. Right here is supposed to be a negative. I thought that was a negative. I don't know what happened there. Did I have a negative and then I put a plus? Did I do that? Yeah, I had a negative. I don't know what happened there. That's supposed to be a negative, which makes this a negative. I don't know what happened there.
Are the answers going to be that sensitive? Like when we type in the answer on the test? It'll count it wrong
Yeah.
if it's just.
You need to make sure you know how to type it in, and I will be very lenient with the radical answers, okay? So if you type it in and you get it wrong and it's the same thing, I'm just challenge it after class. Don't send me an email. Don't text me. Everybody got that? You see me after class, or you Skype in for the 110 online students, you Skype in and we go over it. All right, let's go to another question. And that is a test question, but I don't like it because it tells you use quadratic formula. We don't do the quadratic formula in here. Because I guarantee you, y'all could probably sing it. 3.3, number 28. That's the test question right there. All they want is your x-intercepts. So you don't have to draw this one. We're not going to draw this one. I gave you practice enough for the first two. So that's going to be 2x squared plus 5x plus blank is equal to 1 plus blank. Factor out of 2, x squared plus 5 halves x plus blank is equal to 1 plus 2 times blank. Half of 5 halves divided by 2 over 1 squared multiplied by 1 over 2 is equal to 5 fourths squared, which is equal to 25 what? 16ths. 25 16ths is there and there. And x2 times x plus 5 fourths quantity squared is equal to, that will knock that out to 8. 25 eighths, 8 eighths is here. 8 eighths plus 25 eighths, and that's going to be 2 times x plus 5 fourths quantity squared is equal to, what's 25 plus 8? 33. Y'all check me. And then 2 times x plus 5 fourths quantity squared is equal to 33 eighths. Divide by 2. Divided by 2 over 1, multiplied by 1 over 2 is equal to 33 16ths. So x plus 5 fourths quantity squared is equal to 33 16ths. Square root of both sides. They want it in radicals. So x plus 5 fourths is equal to the square root of 33 over what? 4 minus 5, and there's your answer. Now you would put negative 5 plus 33 over 4 and negative 5 minus 33 over 4. That should be your answer. Now I did it in kind of a hurry because should you be getting better at your speed? Yes. Because heck, we did 10 problems in class. If we did 10 problems in class and you've done your homework, you should be pretty good at this. If you're taking 15 minutes to do one problem, then I think there's a boat missed or a train missed or something. You shouldn't take 15 minutes to do these. Negative 5 plus 33. What? I don't think nobody's taking 15 minutes to do this problem. I hope not.
No.
Okay. Negative 15 minus 33 over C, that's how you write it. Now, of course, I would, what's the square root of 33? Well, the square root of 36 is what? 6. So I'd say it's probably 5.5 or 5.6, something like that. I don't know. I'd have to do it. But, we don't need to do that on these. I try to make it simple for y'all on the test, even though some people still break an anvil with a banana. 3.329. Okay, that's just like the one we did. I'll set it up for you, but I'm not going to go through and do it because I need to get to those last 2 problems. That way we'll have Friday to start the test, or let's go ahead and look at some today. I'm trying to hurry. So 2x squared minus x plus 17 is equal to what? Plus blank is equal to negative 17. That's hold on a minute, plus blank is equal to positive 17 plus blank. All right, factor out of 2, x squared minus 1/2 x plus blank is equal to 17 plus 2 times blank. What's half of 1/2? Well, let's see. 1/2 divided by 2 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 2 squared is 1/4 squared, which is what? 1/16. So that'd be 2 times x minus 1/4 quantity squared is equal to, that 2 will knock that to an 8. So that'll change this into, okay, 8 times 7 is 56. 136. Somebody check my math. What's 17 times 8?
136.
Huh?
It's 136.
136 over 8 plus 1 over 8. And 2 times x minus 1/4 quantity squared is equal to 137 over what? I'll go ahead and do the solving. 2, we're going to divide by 2, which means if I divide by 2 over 1, I multiply by what? 1/2. So that's going to give us, is it asking for the x-intercepts? Yeah. So that gives us x minus 1/4 quantity squared is equal to 137 over what?
16.
And that makes a perfect square. That's very nice. So the square root, x minus 1/4 is equal to the square root of 137 over 4 plus 1/4. And that's going to give x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 137 over what?
4.
And you need to write that in the, you know. Okay, next one. This is 3.4, number 10. The mat around a picture measures x inches across. The mat is 36 inches long and 25 inches wide. The area of the picture itself is 100 square inches. Set up an equation. Hold on. Set up an equation that expresses the area of the picture in terms of thickness of the mat. Now, what they mean thickness, that's kind of misleading. They mean the width of the mat, not how thick it is. So you need to use the width, but who am I? All right, so here's a picture, or here's the mat, and it looks like that. You know, the mat around the picture, all right? It says the mat around the picture measures x inches across. I'm assuming, or this x. I really don't like this question, but no, if.
This is a test question.
Okay, I don't think so. The mat is 36 inches. Okay, wait a minute. The mat around the picture measures the mat. Okay, that's kind of confusing. The way it sounds like to me the mat is 36 inches long. 36 inches long. And 25 inches wide. The area of the picture itself is 100 square inches. Square inches, okay? Set up an equation that expresses the area of the picture. Okay, I see what they're doing. The mat around the picture, this is x. There you go. Now, Is the question written good? Hell to the no. It's not. This should be width. Okay? Does everybody see the X width now? Okay, now that makes sense. The way it's written, you saw me, I put X down here. Okay? That's not written good. Okay, now, if I want to do the length of this picture, then that's going to be 36 minus what? X for this area. If I do the height, then that's going to be 25 minus what? X. So we've got 25 minus X times 36 minus X. And that's going to be equal to what? 100. So it would be, I'm sorry, 2X would be 2. There's one over here, 2. Sorry. And right here, X. So 2X and 2X. No, that's not a test question. Now, if they ask you to do further, it'd be a test question, but I don't know. That would be, you have to use the FOIL method, and 36 times 25, whew, that's a big number. That's a BA number, so it's probably just going to ask you that one thing. Does it? Somebody asked me, tell me that did this question. Did it ask you for one thing?
It says all parts showing.
Huh? Okay. I didn't even know that was there. Wow. So, not a very good written question. So I can understand why you sent that one in, whoever sent it in. And this last one, this is 3.4, number 4. Okay, this says, for the rectangular parking lot of the shopping center shown, which of the following equation says that the area is 50,000 square yards? Okay, 50,000 square yards. Well, you're going to have to take this times that, but it looks like to me that you've got some areas that's not parking lot. That part right there is not parking. I don't know about this one. X times 3x plus 4. It seems like to me it'd be 3x times 3x plus 400 is equal to 50,000, because you don't have any dimensions on this building. You don't have any dimensions on this grassy area. So I don't know how you're going to be able to do anything but that. And the question should say, how much is blacktop? You know, if they want something different. So I would say A is your answer. Wouldn't y'all say that? Is that a good test question? No, because it's very what? It's very vague. I don't like that test question. But I think the student would get confused. Well, what about the building? Because it is saying parking area. So any student would say, well, this is not a parking area. That building is not a parking area. These are not parking areas, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then you start thinking, well, do I need to subtract something? So it's misleading. It's misleading. What it should say, well, I would say the parking lot. What is the area of the parking lot? That's what I would say. Do you see what I'm saying? I guess I'm splitting hairs, but all right, now let's pull up the test. And I know I've only got a few minutes, but I just want you to see today, we're not going over it, I just want you to see what it looks like, okay? So I'm not going to pull up, we'll pull up the first test. That's just review. Well, we'll go ahead and pull up, let me pull that one up. Assignment. We got what, 6 minutes? Okay, let me pull up one for about 3 minutes. And watch what happens when you see the first one. You're going to be like, oh, that's easy. Now, what are you going to say? Well, you know it's a parabola, and you know it's what? Y-intercept is what?
Y.
what is the domain for all of my questions?
All rhythms.
And the range is from 1 to what?
Infinity.
Y'all see how easy this unit 1 is? I'm going to just give you a couple. I'm going to skip okay, this is interval notation. So what is between two inclusive? That's a what? A bracket or a parenthesis?
Bracket.
So you know that C is not it and D is not it. This is exclusive, meaning parenthesis, so it'd be A.
Yeah, that's
See? It's easy. All right, so that's
Keep
what
going,
that looks.
keep going.
Okay, yes, keep going. What's the next one? Difference quotient. Now, that you may need to practice up on, but what do? That'd be 8 times x plus h plus 9 minus 8x plus 9 over what? H. And then you would do the algebra. I'll refresh your memory right quick. We only got like a minute before we look at the other one. So that's going to be, you're going to rewrite 8x, you're going to 8 parentheses plus 9. Y'all remember me drawing these brackets?
Yes.
Minus brackets, and what goes here? The function, 8x plus 9 over what? H, and then that's x plus h, and then you go in and cancel out what you need to cancel out. One more. Why can't I go to the next problem? There we go. Oh my, you think you can handle that?
Yeah, I can do that.
So you see, once you do unit 1 and unit 2 together, what is unit 1?
Easy.
It's easy. So let's go, you're welcome. And let's go look at unit 2 so you can see what it looks like. And I'm just going to go through, and Friday we'll go over both. So preview, where's preview? Here it is. A position of an object moved in a straight line is given by, there's a quadratic. What are you going to do? You're going to sketch it and then look and see what they're asking for. Okay, it says, how long, the nearest tenth, will it take the object to move 14 meters? Well, what is t? So you're solving for what? You're trying to find the x what?
Intercept.
There you go. Okay. Not supposed to clump them together like that, but it's doing it. That's
You get 3 attempts on each question, like on the homework, because it says check answer.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Is it on each question, do you get like 3 attempts? Because it says check answer in the bottom right, and normally it'll say like final answer.
No, this is because I'm previewing. I'm previewing my own test.
Okay.
This is instructor mode.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. Sorry. That's 3.1
But you do get 3 attempts
on the test. Yeah, you get 3 attempts on the test. Okay, here's one. You actually could do this one without even what? Doing it. You know you have a VA what? Y-intercept. You know we did this one for homework.
Yeah.
You know it's what? It's opening down, so that takes B and C out. And you got to do the vertex to know which is the horizontal shift. So you know it's either D or A. So you're going to have to find at least the vertex. Which is the only equation that does not require step 1 of completing the square? Well, there's your answer. Now, be careful here, because what is the vertex here if they ask it? You take the opposite of this, and then you just bring what? Oh, no, you take the opposite of both. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was something else. Okay. So that'd be -7, -5, -7. They want the solution set, so you just finish it. They want it in terms of radicals. Okay, y'all are zipping, so that means convulsions. Even though I got one more minute. Solve by completing the square. I think we just did one like that. Okay, that's your complex numbers. I squared is equal to what? -1. Remember that. We'll go over these Friday, okay? But you can go ahead and start if you want to, because Unit 1 You should all be able to do Unit 1, but that's up to you. You can do them all this weekend if you want to. All right. Let me shut off the